Let's get into some of these New Year's Six games. I'm going to start with the Cotton Bowl. That one's going to be on Friday, December 29th. Missouri, Ohio State. Big movement in line in this one. A lot of that having to do with the Kyle McCord news during the course of this portal season as McCord left Ohio State. It started Ohio State favored by 6.5, and now it's Mizzou 2.5. Wild swing in line. Wild swing in line. So you know that the money just poured in, not just a little bit, not just trickled in, but poured in for Mizzou to move it all the way to Mizzou 2.5. Now, as of now, there haven't been like the major opt-outs from Ohio State. Marvin Harrison Jr., Travion Henderson, they have not declared for the NFL draft, and they have not opted out of this game. Several of the other draft-eligible players have confirmed that they will play in this game, like wide receiver Emeka Ibuka, Denzel Burke, the corner, Jack Sawyer, defensive end, Donovan Jackson, their offensive guard, Tyleik Williams on the defensive side. Notable portal players, though, for Ohio State that will not be in this game. McCord, obviously. Chip Trainum, who was kind of the backup back to Travion Henderson. And Julian Fleming, former number one wide receiver in the country that came in and just never really materialized. So it'll be interesting, what happens for them with the players that are replacing those guys. That's going to fall on Devin Brown, the quarterback, who talk about an amazing opportunity, very similar to Miller Moss, right? Like, this is a great opportunity for Devin Brown to kind of showcase and state a case, if you will, of why he should be the Buckeyes starting quarterback next year. A little bit different than USC in that I don't feel like Ohio State is as aggressive in the quarterback market in the portal as what it seems to, as what USC seemed to be in the portal. So it leads you to believe that Ryan Day is at least comfortable with Devin Brown starting this game, moving into the offseason, and competing with Lincoln Kleinholz, the freshman, and Aaron Nolan, the high school recruit that's about to be there in the spring in Columbus. It could be a decision between those three. Now, it may not be, because the portal will remain open, and there's always going to be that 2-week portal opening right after spring football. So you never know who might lose a quarterback battle throughout the country and then get into the portal after spring. And depending on what happens during the course of spring football and the way that those three players play under Ryan Day, you may see a situation where Ohio State brings somebody in after spring football. That could be the case. It happened at Alabama last year, if you remember. So now Devin Brown in this game, getting back to the Cotton Bowl, Devin Brown going to go out there and he gets to start. So this is an incredible opportunity for him. It's also an incredible opportunity for like wide receiver Carnell Tate, who is a guy that everybody raves about in that program. They all talk about Carnell Tate being the next great Buckeye wide receiver. And they've recruited unbelievable at that position. You talk about just like year in and year out getting, 2 or 3 of the best wide receivers in high school recruiting. And guess what? Carnell Tate is one of those guys. I'll be interested to see, like, if Travion plays at running back, like, obviously that's good for them. But if he doesn't, or even if he does and they want to work in, some depth at that position, you might see a lot more of Dallin Hayden. And that's a guy that Buckeye fans have really liked for a long time and wondered why he doesn't get more opportunities. Well, we might see him get that opportunity here in the Cotton Bowl. Ryan Day coming off that third straight loss to Michigan and only his 7th total loss in his 5 years as the Buckeyes head coach. It has been interesting because going into that game, didn't you sense and feel like there was a lot of pressure on Ryan Day, and that if he lost to an acting head coach in Sharon Moore, if he lost his third straight to Michigan, that there were going to be, like, the claws would be out with Buckeye fans. And I'm not suggesting that they weren't. And I'm not suggesting that this was all like unicorns and rainbows in Columbus. But I didn't sense that the fan base was as adamant about, like, Ryan and wanting to move on as I maybe anticipated them being. Now, maybe a lot of that vitriol and criticism fell towards Kyle McCord. because of the interception in that game and just the overall feeling that he wasn't up to par against Michigan. Maybe that's the case, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he's at Syracuse. But Ryan Day, 7th loss in his 5th year as the Buckeyes head coach. Winning this one could help in a lot of ways this offseason. You don't want to lose this one, but obviously, like, it's so different than the playoff game a year ago. You don't want the same feeling as losing to Michigan and then losing the playoff last year and then like a bowl game this year. So now they're facing a Mizzou team. And this Mizzou team, by the way, man, they had a great season. Mizzou was terrific in a lot of ways. They're coming off a great 10-win season. It's only losses LSU and Georgia. Trying to finish in the top 10 for the first time in basically a decade. They won the Cotton Bowl this game in 2013 under Gary Pinkel. Love Gary Pinkel, by the way. And this is a team, by the way, that like I really like the way they're built offensively because they've got a good bit of balance. And they found that with a former walk-on, Cody Schrader. Cody was tremendous. He averaged nearly 200 yards from scrimmage over his last 5 games, so he was really good late in the season. He was a finalist for the Doak Walker Award, and he won the Bullsworth Trophy for the nation's best former walk-on. Schrader averaged 124 yards rushing per game this season. That was second only to Ollie Gordon, who was the nation's leading rusher at Oklahoma State. So love what Schrader did. And he, in so many ways, had a big finish to the season because of what Brady Cook and Luther Burden was doing early in the season, which is dominating in the passing game. And yeah, they've got the nation's second leading rusher per game in Schrader, and yet Cook threw for over 3,000 yards, and Luther Burden has nearly 1,200 yards receiving. So there's a lot of threats out there for Missouri on the offensive side. They can throw it around, they can run it, and that's going to be difficult for Ohio State. If Ohio State's not ready to go, Missouri can absolutely win this game, and that's where the line has gone. Missouri now favored by 2.5. Now, if you get a fully engaged Ohio State team, even with Devin Brown at quarterback, I think that that's a better team than Missouri. But who knows what type of engagement you're going to get? We still don't know about Marvin Harrison. We still don't know about Travion Henderson. I don't see a scenario in which Ohio State can lose their quarterback, their best running back, and Marvin Harrison Jr., their best wide receiver, and go out there and beat a team as good as Missouri has been in their 10 wins with a balanced offense with Schrader, Cook, and Burden. So a lot of this depends on the decision for Marvin Harrison and Travion Henderson. Can't really make a pick without those guys' decisions yet.
Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.